Um, so, like I said this morning, let me just mute this tick strike for a second. What I said, what I was mentioning this morning is that the ES and the NQ both did what we said they were gonna do yesterday, which is if they failed to break out of this range, which they attempted yesterday, they found buyers. So when you see that, when you see an attempt to break out of a range, and then it finds support, usually what it does is that it comes back to the other side of the range, right? Like in this case, it will be 48.20. It did come to the point of control, and after the news report, it gave back a little bit of the gains, but right now we're in the middle of all this chop area, a lot of volume. Remember I mentioned a couple of days ago that the weekly pivot always, we trade back and forth a few times, and that's what's happening right now. The point of control, the 20-day point of control shifted down here to 92, and now we are attempting to go back above this whole area. So we left some single prints during the overnight session. That was the part of the short that I had taken earlier that got took profit on half. What I was saying is that, so even though the target is up here at, sorry, I'm pointing the mouse at the wrong place. Even though the target is here at 48.20 area, we have a lot of areas where we have really high positive delta where we can expect to see some resistance. But so the first target would be 4800 on the upside. Then we need to clear this low volume node at 4805-ish. So that would be a good place to book profits if we get there. And then wait and see if we can get above this little volume, low volume area, and then target this high volume area, 12, and then an attempt to go to repair this poor structure, which is like we have a high right next to an untested point of control at 48. Let me get the exact number, 48.16. And then here we should see some sellers show up and defend these shorts, but we still have a pending target on the upside. We had a bullish imbalance with the target at 48.52. The only thing with that is that we had that because we had all this volume up here in this 12 area, but this area is getting rejection, and now most of the volume is down here. So this is a little bit more balanced than before. If you look at it, like the profile, it's a little more balanced. So yes, it is lacking excess on the high side. If you see the highs are not very, it should look something like this, right? So if you put all these profiles together, let's do a little experiment here. Let's do merge this with all of this. This is what we get. So yeah, you can see that it's lacking some excess on the upside, right? So ideally you want to see a profile that's like a normal distribution, right, with an excess on the downside and an excess on the upside. So far sellers have been winning the battle up here, and we cannot get higher to leave that excess. So that needs to be, eventually will be cleaned up. I'm not saying that it's going to happen today or next week or ever, but eventually it will get cleaned up. Okay. Now NQ. Oh, okay. So the scenario for today for ES is we're rejecting this. I'm expecting now to retest yesterday's high because value here is being rejected. I'm expected 76 to be tested. So the question is, do we test and bounce back up, or do we get inside yesterday's range and close the gap to settle at 72 and come back to test the point of control at 65? So that is the question there. I have I don't want to say I'm sure, but I have a high degree of conviction that we're gonna test 76. Now, if we cannot defend the point of control here, look for a travel back to value area low down here at 59. And then if we break that, then we're gonna do another attempt to test the lows from yesterday and come back to 47.35, which is this pending target that we had from yesterday. I don't know if we're gonna get there. I'm thinking that this area is gonna hold, but you never know. That's what we have to keep looking at. If we are not able to close the gap to yesterday's high, then that'll be a tell that the buyers are still in control. Although this happened during the overnight session, so you want to just keep an eye on this and the reaction here. If we come back inside value, we need 88. We need to get above 88 and hold above 88. Right now it's getting rejected. If we hold above 88, then we can look for 4,800, and then value area high here is 805, and then what I mentioned before. As far as Nasdaq goes, NQ has been very strong. It has been very strong, and when we rejected off the low here, it came all the way back into this high volume node yesterday, and then it's been rallying the whole night. Got to that target that I mentioned, and it's tested the highs of the range, and it's now, it came back to, where did it go back to? It almost got back to this high volume area, but it hasn't gotten there yet. So if it keeps pushing down, the target will be here at 69,960 and 69,940 something, 40 and change. So for NQ, the short was here, right? And this was the target, and that was a good risk reward. Now it's a little bit of, okay, it already got here and it's bouncing a little, so I'd rather short in this area than here, but this should be an area where we're gonna come back to. And then the same thing, right? Like, watch it, in order for us to get back to test yesterday's high, we need to go through this low volume area that I had it marked as resistance, but it went right through it. So now it's going to be a little bit of support. So if it gets through there, then we're going to test yesterday's high. And same scenario, look at the reaction. Do we bounce? If we bounce, then look again for this 20-day point of control as a target, and then resuming the rally. But I mean, we're still in this range, so until we don't break out, by the way, if we break out of the range, what I always do to have as a target, let's say that this is the target, right? Like from 16,680 to 1740, right? So I take that range, I do 1740 minus 1680, that's a 360 point range. So I add that to 1740 to give me an idea of what levels to target, right? So 17,400 will be a target on the upside if we break out of this range and we start rallying. Not today, but like as a target for, okay, well, if we get there, then we're likely going to start putting another area where we'll start balancing. So double the range of what you're currently trading at. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. I think we just gotta wait and see what happens once we open. But so far I took the short here, 88, took half off, and I'm waiting to see if we get here to 76, 71, and 65. All right, good luck.